It's a 3-year-long war. It involves a major nuclear power and it affects your most important allies. Who would you pick to broker a peace deal in such a scenario? Maybe a seasoned diplomat, or a respected politician, or a long-time Russia expert. But guess who Donald Trump picked? His golf buddy. I'm not talking about his Secretary of State or his National Security Advisor. They are seasoned campaigners. I'm talking about his special envoys, Steve Witkoff and Keith Kellog. Witkoff is in charge of West Asia. Before Trump's inauguration, he traveled to Israel. Reports say he strong-armed Benjamin Netanyahu to take the ceasefire deal. We're talking about Israel's longest-serving leader, a veteran of diplomacy. Yet Witkoff managed to sway him. Then yesterday he was in Riyadh, one of the 3 people sent by Trump to talk to Russia to end the war in Ukraine, which makes you wonder, who is this guy? Steve Witkoff is a real estate mogul. He first met Donald Trump back in 1986. Both of them were working on a property deal. Since then, they have forged a strong friendship. Trump and Witkoff play golf together. In fact, Witkoff's grandson is named after the president. So it's a pretty thick bond. And like Trump, Witkoff is a billionaire. Even today, he remains the chairman of his real estate company. If you're waiting for his diplomatic credentials, don't bother, because there aren't any. Witkoff is a typical Trump advisor, no experience, but lots of loyalty. Reports say he gave $2 million to Trump's campaign. His only link to West Asia is that he's Jewish. So emotionally, Israel is important to him. But why was he in Riyadh? Why did he go to Moscow and meet Putin? Why not the Ukraine envoy? Let's introduce him first. Keith Kellog is Trump's envoy for Ukraine and Russia. He's a more conventional pick. Kellogg was a general in the US Army. He has also authored a paper on the Ukraine war. And what did the paper say? That Ukraine must negotiate from a position of strength and that the US should keep sending arms to Ukraine. On things like NATO and territory, his position mirrors Trump, but overall, he's a bit more hawkish. Apparently, the Russians don't like that, which is probably why Kellogg was not in Riyadh for the talks. Instead, he's been dispatched to Ukraine. He arrived in Kiev earlier today. He promised to listen to Zelensky's concerns.
We understand the need for security guarantees. We understand this, the of sovereignty of this nation and the effects of this nation as well. And we're going to, part of my mission is to sit and listen and say, okay, what are you concerned? Where are we at? We can go back to the United States, talk to President Trump, and with the Secretary Rubio and the rest of the team, and just ensure that we get this one right.
Zelensky is pretty hopeful. He was eagerly awaiting Kellogg's arrival. The plan is to take him to the front line to show what Ukraine is dealing with.
I'm really waiting for Kellogg. I really want you to send him over here. And I want him to have a look at everything, to see it, to have briefings, to hear reports, to talk to different people, different members of our military, to spend time on it. And it's very good that he has 3 days there. I think 2.5 days, yes. What I really want is for him to bring all this back to President Trump, to show him, to tell him. And I think after that we will probably be closer to an understanding of it from our point of view.
It's a bit late for that. All the key decisions have already been made, plus Kellogg may not have that sort of sway with Trump, not like Witkoff, certainly. From the outside, this team may look unconventional. But I'd like to remind you of 2 things. Number one, this is not new for Trump. It's pretty much on point. He has always paired volatility with predictability. Trump himself is volatile, but his vice president is more conventional. One of his main advisors is Elon Musk, but his chief of staff is a long-time political consultant, someone who stays behind the scenes. Witkoff and Kellogg fit the same template. Witkoff has the fancy and often brash ideas, and Kellogg smoothens the edges. So that's the first point. Secondly, like it or not, it is working. Witkoff did manage to strike a ceasefire in Gaza. Joe Biden's army of seasoned diplomats could not do that in 15 months. So sometimes volatility works. Diplomats tend to see things in a rigid way. Maybe a fresh perspective helps. Having said that, there are downsides too. Yes, Witkoff settled the war in Gaza, but he's also pushing the US to take over the Strip, to evict Palestinians and build resorts. And that sort of perspective does not help. And that's where Trump will have to play a big role. He is the politician in the room, so he must embrace ideas that work and reject the ones that do not work. He is, after all, the president.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogon, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically, in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs. And that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.